Okay. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started. Again, thank you all so much for taking the time to join us this evening. We are really looking forward to telling you more about the Web3 Development Course that we've just launched here at BloomTech, introducing you to a few of our instructors, the folks who helped to create this curriculum, and then also to answer any questions that you have about the space in general for our instructors and or about our program. So, to get us started, we're going to go ahead and introduce you to the hosts of tonight's webinar for BloomTech. I'll go ahead and kick us off. My name is Jessica Mansueto. I grew up in Salt Lake City. I still live here with my husband, our 2-year-old son, and our very old, very deaf, and very blind dog, whose name is Grub, who we just adore. I'm a program manager here at BloomTech. I've been working here for about 3 years now. And in that time, I've worked in different roles across the organization. But I must say that working with Mark in the past almost 9 to 12 months, building this Web3 development course has been one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences that I've had here. There were lots of wine, lots of tears, and I'm really excited that the applications are now open and we are so close to launching the content to the public. When I'm not working, you can find me chasing my toddler around or in the kitchen cooking. I really love to cook. My favorite thing to do is pretend that I'm on Chopped and come up with dinner ideas using only the ingredients that I have in my house. I don't normally time myself, but my son definitely lets me know when it's time to eat dinner and I'm out of time. So, with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Mark.
Thanks, Jess. My name is Mark Pavlovich. I'm the program design lead for this course. I was the person who helped architect this course and kind of bump it into the shape that it's in. I live in Atlanta. I grew up in Chicago, hence the kind of hyper nasal voice that you hear. And when I'm not working, I'm an amateur jazz musician. I'm a trumpet player and flugelhorn player. And recently I decided to do something way out of my comfort zone. And I played in a couple of symphonies last fall. It didn't go particularly well those first couple of rehearsals because I tended to want to play all the music like jazz. And the conductor said, no, you've got to play the notes that are on the page. So welcome. We're delighted that you're here. We've got a jam-packed hour for you. So Jess, let's get going here.
Great. So next, we have some of our instructors who are also subject matter experts in the Web3 space. We're going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves as well. First, we have David Fernandez.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm David Fernandez. As you guys can see, I'm a little bit different today. I've been working as a blockchain developer for roughly 2 years. I'm originally from Venezuela, but I've been living in the US for about a decade now. So I consider myself pretty much American as well. And I've been enjoying the journey working with BloomTech and all the team, Mark, Jessica, and also Dennis. We've been working for a few months now in the past, and it's just been amazing. So just been really a great experience.
Thank you. And then we're next going to pass it on to Dennis Saskinoff.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Denis Zaznikov. I think that should be pronounced that way. I'm not sure. Zaznikov. They say it was invented some time ago. I can't find any other Zaznikov in the world. So let's just pretend this is the right way to say it. So I'm originally from Brazil. I've been here for about 7, 8 years now. Super glad to be part of this team, part of this launch event. I'm pretty sure we have designed, a very nice course for you. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to talk to us if you need. We'll be super glad to help and try and answer all of your questions. And yeah, very, very excited about this launch, and I hope to meet you all very soon. I've been spending quite some time with baby as well. We have a newborn, 6 months. So Jessica, I know exactly what you mean. Been trying to get some sleep.
Yeah. Well, good luck. It doesn't necessarily get easier as they go older, not to freak anybody out, but that's been my experience. So before we actually jump into kind of the meat of our program here, we want to take a quick poll to get an idea of what everybody's background and experience is as a developer. We'll share the results with the group so you have an idea of who is alongside you and also has joined this webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this, and you should see a window pop up where you can participate and just select how much experience you have. We'll give everybody about 20 seconds to participate if they'd like. Looks like we've got pretty healthy mix of folks here, which is good. Okay, go for about 10 more seconds. Most people have completed. Okay, so go ahead and end it here and share the results with you. So you should see now, again, a separate window showing how many years of experience most of the folks have here. You can see we've got about 52 people here, 80% of them answered, 58% of 0 to 2 years experience, 21% 3 to 5 years, and then 21% 5+ years. And we'll kind of jump into like why that makes sense later, or like why we're asking that. But again, just to give you an idea of who's in this room with you also participating in our webinar. So to jump in and give you more information about our Web3 development course that we've created here at BloomTech, it was not only created to help you just learn and digest new evolving information about the Web3 space. It seems to change pretty constantly, but to also help you build and add projects to your resume using Web3 technology, just in case you might be interested and or looking for a new position as a Web3 developer in this space. There are roles like Solidity contract developers or smart contract testers, for example, all of which, or both of which, plus more, seem to be opening more and more frequently across, the market in tech. So if you're looking to jump into the space or get a new job in the space, this is going to be really great for your resume, and you can talk to potential employers in depth about your experience and your knowledge in the Web3 space. So the course here at BloomTech is made up of 10 different sprints, and each sprint has a different area of focus in Web3 development. The goal for each sprint is to review the materials provided and then use your newfound knowledge to build what we're calling a project that's related to the sprint topic. So in each sprint, you'll find an overview of what the sprint is about, your goals when going through the sprint, and then the competencies that you'll have upon completing the sprint. To help you get ready to build your sprint project, we've included a section of information that we like to call Investigate and Explore information. And all of this contains resources and links to reading materials intended to help you comprehend all of the facets of technology and or topics related to the sprint, again, to get you ready to create and successfully create your sprint project. There's also a section of videos that we call coding practice videos. And these have been designed to help you practice the components that will be needed to successfully complete your sprint project. Those projects I talked about that you can add to your resume at the end of this course, those are them. And then once you have reviewed all of the information, there's a section that has a sprint project overview. So it includes the project description, the goals related to completing the project, and how the project should actually work and function. And then finally, there's a section that we call our project solution video. And that's designed to walk you through the process of completing your project if you're unable to complete it on your own. So you submit it. We've got a really cool kind of auto grader that once you submit the project, it does its magic on the back end. Within just a few minutes, if you've got a good internet connection, you'll be able to know if your project works or if it doesn't. If it doesn't work and you want to know why, but you can't figure it out, we have provided that solution video for you, so you can walk through end to end, watching our instructors and subject matter experts such as David and Dennis, walking through themselves building the project, so you can see what you did wrong and then reattempt the project as many times as you want until it's submitted correctly. We recommend that you attempt these sprint projects multiple times prior to walking through the video, so that way you are really walking away with a good understanding of how all of the things work versus, going to the back of the New York Times to find out the answers to the crossword puzzles like I normally do. We anticipate that the course, each sprint should take about 15 hours or so, depending on your pace to complete. If you spend 15 hours a week, you'll get through the course roughly in about 10 weeks. But we've created this to be self-paced, so you can go at whatever pace feels best to you, and during the time of day that feels best to you as well. That's really the beauty of this course, which is actually the first of its kind that we've offered here at BloomTech. So we're really excited about it. Let's see. Once you've enrolled and been admitted to the program, you'll have access to all of the Web3 development content for 12 months from the day that you start. So if you start and you're really into it for a couple of months and then you've, have to take a break for whatever reason, you can always go back and pick up where you left off, and that information will always be available to you. There are also multiple optional live, what we call Ask an Expert hours offered each week and including weekends, all, various times of the day. Maybe the morning works best for you, evenings, afternoon. We're trying to cater to everybody there. And then it's going to be live with, again, our subject matter experts and instructors like Dennis and David. We've got a few other really great folks lined up. You can sign up for those through the LMS system, our learning system. And they're going to cover topics such as general support, sprint specific support. Maybe you're stuck on sprint 4 and you really need help. You can sign up for those events specifically, and then any kind of debugging. And then we're also going to be having guest speakers throughout, kind of like trickled in. We don't have a specific schedule for it, but guest speakers like we have today with our instructors. So you can sign up and hear from industry experts what the market looks like, or maybe, learn more about the Ethereum Foundation. It's kind of just general ideas. But again, those will be available to you as well. Our course at this point, the price to access that information is $5,500 USD, and that must be paid upfront prior to getting any information to the course. And then just final note here is that our program is pretty much designed and geared towards people that have experience, 1 to 2 years ideal in software engineering, because general engineering knowledge is needed to get through the course successfully. It's not, while it's really hyper-focused on Web3, you do need kind of that foundation in order to do some of the basic things to, again, create your sprint project successfully. So if you have questions, kind of keep it in the back of your mind, because in just a few minutes here, we'll jump to Q&A, and I'm happy to answer anything about the program specifically. But for now, I'm going to pass it over to Mark.
Thank you. So you're in the right place. If you weren't watching the chat, go take a look over at chat. People are saying hello, how are you? And Nishi said, "Wow, that's your background is cool." And I go, "Hey, are you a musician too?" And his response is like priceless. He said, "But I prefer a trained musician to hold our heads through the bear market times." That's just awesome. All right. So now I know I'm in the right place, and everybody else is in the right place too. So again, thanks a lot. What I'm going to do is go into a little bit of information, a little bit of history of background on how we got to where we are, tell you a little bit more in depth about what the course is going to delve into, and a little bit about why we designed the course and how we designed the course. So, Web3 is like a real big thing, right? If I take a look at just the amount of jobs that are available for starting level Web3 developers, we talked to a lot of people about what kind of skills that Web3 developers might need. And a recruiter friend of mine who is recruiting for Web3 called me as I was getting into this and said, "Hey, Mark, there's a job that's like bicycle distance from your house," which was like, 6 miles or so. And she said the following. She goes, "It's entry level. If you know anything about smart contracts, just testing smart contracts, that job is $225,000 a year." I go, perhaps I should take my own course. The salaries there are really, really high. The jobs are cool. It's a nice place to be. I was kind of around at the resisting saying, well, back in my day, this kind of really does remind you when Internet 1 was a thing and when Internet 2 was a thing. There's all this great buzz. There's all these great jobs. I have no doubt in my mind that people taking the course here are going to be those leaders. Everybody looks back and said, I know that guy. He did all these cool things. So a little bit about how we did this course. If you kind of played around in Web3 at all, you know that there's a huge area. There's Solidity, there's Solana, which we won't do, at least not in this course. There's ERCs, there's DeFi, there's NFTs, there's hacking, there's auditing, there's all sorts of stuff. So what we did is we searched around and found somebody who had been working in Web3 for a very, very long time. He's a really cool guy. He understands his way around. So Alex and I spent about 2 weeks just kind of saying, what would a course like this look like? And I still have this drawing. It's on my whiteboard. It's over there. But if I move my camera, that's like weird. So we'll do that. But we came up with 27 nodes of information we could possibly teach. Every node had like 3 or 4 separate projects that we can go into. And while we decided if we taught all of that stuff, we would probably put ourselves out of date by the time we designed it. So we got down into 10, we'll call them sprints. You can think of them as units or 10 pieces of information. Every one of these sprints has something that we're calling a quote unquote resumeable project. That's what Jess was talking about a little bit earlier. These are things that if you do want a job in Web3, if you go talk to employers and you said, look, I did these things, here are the projects that I did, let me tell you about the projects. Those are the 10 skills that the people who were in hiring positions said that they're really, really looking for. Once we got this basic level of what it is we were going to teach, we went through another step. And this step, I think, is probably like one of the favorite things that we've done, besides, hanging out with Dennis and David and our other subject matter experts, which I'll tell you about a little bit. We actually sent out the wrong curriculum to people from the Ethereum Foundation, from Alchemy, from Hardnet, from Tenderly. We've got good friends at Web3 like Nadir Dab. We sent this curriculum out to everybody and said, hey, what do you think? Is this good? Is this not good? And based on their comments, we made very, very small tweaks in the curriculum so that it is like kind of really, really well vetted by people out in the industry who are doing these things. So now we have a well-vetted, cohesive, coherent, end-to-end curriculum. It does start out a little slow. So for folks who've been in Web3 for a while, the first couple of sprints are like, I know this, but that's okay. We really wanted to have everybody have a good experience with how to take the course. Now, Jess told you a little bit about what's in the course. The first couple of sprints, especially the first one, is very simple. But one of the things that we think is really, really different and unique about our program is when you submit your projects, you submit them to an auto grader, and the auto grader returns for you very quickly, depending on how complex the project is and your internet connection to other things, but it returns your results back very quickly. So you get like immediate feedback. There isn't any, do I do a project? Do I do something that's on paper? These are honest to God real projects. Every single one of these sprints are all connected to each other. So all that foundation level that you build in sprints 1, 2, 3, 4, once you get to sprint 4 and 5 and 6, you can start to apply everything that you learned so that you have like an end-to-end experience. Now, we could not have done this without people like Dennis and David. Web3 is so new. This really is a worldwide phenomenon. We searched literally all over the world to find people who are experts in exactly one sprint. Dennis did a couple sprints for us. We have another person named Manraj, who's from Canada. He's also one of our new educational assistants who also did 2 sprints. But for the most part, we were looking for people who were passionate about what they were doing, who were knowledgeable about what they were doing, and the kinds of educational experiences that they designed really does come through. So Dennis, David, thank you guys so much. If I had to do this by myself, it'd be about 2 or 3 more years. So we have all this really, really cool information. It's resumeable. You can go through this course and have the confidence that if you want to go find a job in Web3, you have the skills to do that. Now, let's talk a little reality. Let's do a little reality check here too, right? If anybody has big holdings in crypto, you know that your crypto is down 70%, 75, 65, depending on what you're holding and what time of the day you're looking at. One of the things that we did not do was we did not design a cryptocurrency course, because Web3 is so much bigger than just buying and selling Bitcoin or coming up with your own coins. We also didn't do just a blockchain course. Again, blockchain is crucial. It is the foundation of what it is that Web3 is doing, but it's not the only thing. So when we teach the course in actual what blockchain is, the spin on it that we have for here is all about cryptography. Like exactly how do we make sure that all these things are solid? How do we make sure these things are connected? How do we make sure that it's secure? Remember what I said earlier, that all these projects, these sprints are connected. So by the time you get to sprint 10, I'm going to give you four Solidity contracts. I'll tell you right now, they all have vulnerabilities, and your job is to find the vulnerabilities, tell us what they are, and then go back and fix them. Sounds easy. However, some of these things are really subtle. So if you don't understand the cryptography, you may not be able to get to that same point in a quick time as everybody else. David's sprint just on DeFi. When I asked for a DeFi, I had lots of people said, sure, I know DeFi. We sorted through, 15 or 20 people just on DeFi. And David said, I know what I'll do. I'll do an AMM for you instead of just to teach DeFi. I said, man, that's perfect. That's exactly the kind of information that we're looking for. So It's not just a blockchain course. It's not just an NFT course. Oh, I should say about the NFTs too. We will teach you NFTs, but our goal is not to become, yet another Bored Apes Yacht Club. Although if you want to do that, that's cool. But it is really to teach about ERC governance. So as you're learning NFTs are anything of your choice. We give you one if you don't want to try to do one on yourself. I can't draw straight lines with a ruler, so I'm not going to do any kind of cute kitties thing anytime soon. If you want to do that, cool. But what we're going to teach in the NFT part is the ERC governance. Like, why do you need tokens? What kind of tokens are something that we should use like right now versus what's coming in the future? Why are they important? How does that add to the security? And that leads right back into that cryptography course, or quick cryptography sprint that I told you about before. One thing I do want to say here as I'll wrap up my part is the kinds of people that we're going to have who are going to come and talk in these other seminars. I'll give you a little sneak peek of some of the folks. I think we have a list earlier, but I think it's relevant now. We have a person whose sole job is to just hook up people who are looking to hire with Web3 experts with Web3 experts. Now, our course does not include any kind of placement assistance, but we know a lot of people who are very willing to come in and talk to people and say, these are the kinds of jobs that are available. Well, let me help you take a look to see what's there. We also have Bogdan Habich for people who know Tenderly or have used Tenderly. Bogdan is the co-founder and chief technology officer. Bogdan also helped us develop one of our sprints. So he's going to come in and talk about his technology, sure. He's going to also talk about the burgeoning industry of doing on-chain and off-chain monitoring of all of your contracts. We're working on, I was hoping to get a confirmation before here, but his schedule is a little wonky right now. We will probably have somebody, maybe even the CEO of Ethereum Foundation, who is going to tell us all about the move of proof of work to proof of stake. Going to be huge in Web3 for energy savings and also for lower cost. Okay, so with all that the big download of information, let me quickly summarize. The course does provide an end-to-end experience of learning Web3 skills that really is more than just a cryptography, just a cryptocurrency, just a blockchain. It should give you the idea or the concepts if you want to go and find jobs in Web3. If you don't want to find jobs in Web3, that's cool too. If you're here because you are, where we kind of invented crypto curious, you're welcome to kind of hang out and learn those skills and keep those skills sharp. That's really important. I'm a reformed data scientist simply because my coding skills are so old that I have to get help from 13-year-olds to do any kind of coding anymore. So this is just a good way to keep up with your skills if that's what you're interested in. So welcome. I'll hand it back over to you, Jess, and we can move on with the rest.
Thank you, Mark. I love Mark. He's great. Okay, so at this point, we kind of wanted to stop and see if anybody has any specific questions regarding any of the things that Mark and I had discussed about the program. It looks like I have 2 questions right now that I'll hurry and jump on. So somebody asked, how much is the course? And the course is $5,500 USD, and again, must be paid upfront prior to getting access to the course. Once that tuition is paid and you've signed your enrollment agreement, you will maintain access to the course for 12 months. And then I have another question. How does the Web5 alternative come to impact the plans outlined for the Web3 as an industry? Mark, I'm not sure who is best to answer that.
I'm sorry, Jess, you broke up a little bit. Would you mind asking that question again?
How does the Web5 alternative come to impact the plans outlined for Web3 as an industry?
Perfect opportunity to hand it off to Dennis or David. This a little bit behind me. Can you guys, when you guys want to jump in?
Yeah.
Sure.
David? Yeah. So I guess Web5 is really something, that was invented or created maybe 2 weeks ago, especially by, that guy from Twitter, the ex-CEO, Jack. So he came up with this idea of a Web5, and to be honest, it's not really very clear what it is at this point. what do they mean by Web5? It's definitely something that is just a plan right now. There's nothing concrete. So it's really hard for me to say more than that because I don't really know what they're planning. But I know it's not. It's different from what we know today as Web3. It's not based on a new token or Ethereum, nothing like that. It's probably some new applications running over the Bitcoin blockchain, truly. So yeah, that's a great question, but I think it's too early to tell. David?
Yeah. Yeah. So I might have 2 to 3 minutes just to explain. I'm also not super knowledgeable about exactly what's happening. However, I know that, well, obviously Web5 is just the sum of Web2 plus Web3. And Jack Dorsey, what he's trying to do is to leverage Bitcoin blockchain in order to give data privacy and the ability for people to own their own data. However, that's already existing in Ethereum. And in fact, there are use cases that are already being implemented. NFTs is one. SBTs, which is in an experimenting phase at the moment, is going to become an ERC. And that's going to be used also as the same use case that the Web5 platform that Jack Dorsey is trying to run, they're trying to do. So I also saw that they don't even have their APIs well implemented yet because they are just starting out, and they have to play a catch up with Ethereum. Another thing that's happening with Ethereum is that after the merge and after sharding is implemented, meaning that Ethereum is going to scale, then I don't really see any other blockchain taking over Ethereum, even Bitcoin. And because of Ethereum has so many years working on their framework, tooling, innovation, talent, and they've been doing this for almost 7 years since their inception. So Bitcoin will have to actually catch up to the smart contract war, and I don't know if that they would be a winner. So I mean, I'm obviously a bit of a Ethereum man, though that's my opinion as of now. So
Thank you both. I'm going to move on to the next question here in the Q&A. Someone asked, is the whole course solo work or are there any group projects of any sort work?
Yeah, so it's designed for the working professional in mind. It's like, we have people literally from all over the world. There's people here who woke up at 2:00 in the morning to join us. So thank you. So we understand the working professional has very, very limited time in which to sit down and take a course at the time the instructors are available. So here's what we're doing instead. All of the coding practice videos that tells you kind of how to learn the skills in order to complete this project. Those are all on your own. You can study these things on your own. If you want to wake up at 2 in the morning, go ahead. We won't stop you. But the people that you see here, Dennis and David, and the two others, I can announce those because they're official. Manraj is in Canada. He's kind of in the western part of Canada, also a sprint builder. And then Dr. Akib Lone, who's PhD in computer science. He's in India. And Akib is going to take the weekend shifts for us. We have Ask the Expert sessions. There will be a sign-up list that tells you who is available at what time and the topics that they are going to be able to speak about. That's one kind of tier of support. You can always log into something that we call a hub, where you can ask questions. And people who are available will pick up those questions and answer them for you. So we're not going to do like a group coding experience kind of thing like a code along, but we do really invite you to take advantage of the Ask the Expert sessions for great questions about what's going on in the course. But also I saw one over here, somebody asked, why are we doing Solidity instead of Solana? And David answered that question in chat. David, I might ask you to answer that question again for everyone else who may have missed that. But it's also a good opportunity to take advantage of the cumulative knowledge that all of our experts have and ask them questions about, are you all freaking out because we see that Coinbase just laid off 30% of their workforce? That's a good opportunity to vet those questions. The answer is no, by the way, because Coinbase had overhired and they are just trying to get those engineers into other places now that their platform is built.
Thank you. The next question we have is, what if someone feels like this course is not a good fit, like in the first few days or weeks? I'll go ahead and take that. So we do have a refund policy in place. The further into the course you get, the more vested you are. Meaning once you open Sprint 1, you're X% vested, and you know, are eligible for the remainder of your tuition after that X%. And it continues to grow again based on Sprint started. For more questions about that specifically, we would have to reach out to our support team because it is state specific. Because we are a school, there are regulations. And so depending on where you live, the answer might be like slightly different than for somebody somewhere else. So I hope that helps. The next question that I have is, can you send us a list of the 10 sprints and a small overview or syllabus of each sprint? We have posted on our website, www.bloomtech.com /courses /Web3. There, you can scroll down and there's a link to our curriculum there. And we can, oh, Dante's on top of it and already posted it there, but you can see all of the different topics and everything on our website. Okay. The next question I have is this the first edition of this course? And I'll go ahead and pass that to Mark.
Yep, it's the first edition that we are doing publicly for BloomTech, although as we speak right now, we have 20 or so, 18 to 20 somewhere there, people who are taking the test, taking the course as our internal testers. And we're leaning on their experiences to kind of like, you know, squash all the bugs that we find.
Thank you. There is a question in the chat, not in the Q&A, but somebody asked on the 12-month course access, so we will no longer be able to access the course materials after that. That's correct. From the day that you are admitted and you've paid your tuition, you have exactly 12 months, and we'll continue to send you email reminders as you get closer to that 12-month period. So if you realize like, holy smokes, I didn't realize this is ending so soon, I need to log back in, you'll have the ability to do that. Okay. The next question that I have is, when does the course start and what can folks start learning before the course starts so they can better be prepared for it? I'll answer the first half and let Mark answer the second half. Applications for our Web3 course are open now, so you can go apply and save your spot. But the people who apply now are admitted will not get course access until July 25th, at which point in July 25th, you will sign up and get course access right then. But we're continuing to work on our internal platform that we're building out for some of our new learners. It's really cool and exciting. You definitely don't want to miss out on it. And then Mark, the second part of the question is, what can folks start learning now to better be prepared for the course?
So we do have a list of Dante. Dante works for us. Dante is our enrollment helper for Web3, enrollment specialist. So if Dante, I'll put you on the spot here. Could you dig up the tech requirements for me while I'm talking here? Thank you, kind sir. So in general, if you know curly bracket programming language, you're going to be okay. We do have this list of requirements, and these are programs. That could be websites, that could be applications, that could be programs, that could be languages. And when you see the list, you'll see that there's two lists. There's like your computer really needs to have this information already. So it's like, typical kind of stuff, Python, JSON, those kinds of things. There's a list. But then there's an entirely other tab of all of the Web3 kinds of applications that you're going to be using. When you see this, the list kind of looks like it's a little disoriented. Some people said, dude, put this in alphabetical order. But what you're going to see is kind of like the list of applications as you're going to encounter them. So it's things like MetaMask, Hardhat, Truffle, Chai, Mocha, Tenderly, those kinds of things that you'll see. Lots of places to get test coins. That reminds me of something I probably should have said earlier. At no time are we going to ask you to spend real coins to do any kind of the tests. As a matter of fact, you will see legal disclaimers. It'll say, please don't do that. So we're going to give you 4 or 5, or I think we're now up to 6 different faucets for test coins. And just with the understanding, those are a little wonky because they're all maintained like people like us who get into this, and we maintain the websites. And, sometimes the websites go down. So we're giving you 4 or 5 of those kinds of things. Every time that we list one of those things, both in this, oh gosh, thank you. Every time that we list one of those things that we're required, we're always going to give you a small explanation of what it is, why you need it, and then a link so that you can go prepare. You can go prepare your computer for it. We're not asking you to go ahead and look at all that Web3 stuff and download it and get into it unless you really want to. Please go ahead. But you're going to see a lot of things like, here's the cheat sheet for the Solidity syntax. I'm not going to memorize all that. If I can go back and look, I'll learn it kind of as I need it. So all that stuff will be there for you. Also, when we get to the coding practices part, the coding practices will also have links underneath them. Like, so, this video, this one of the cool videos that Dennis did, you're going to need hard hat. So before you do that, if you haven't had a chance to go look at hard hat, or if you just want to make sure your system is configured, here's a link right below the video. So you have to kind of scroll back and try to remember where that is.
Thank you, Mark. We have another question in here. A lot of layer ones are adopting Rust, Solana, and Near. I believe Polkadot is using Rust as well. Will BloomTech teach Rust in the future? Rust is becoming very popular among programmers, even non-Web3. Probably Mark.
That's such a David question.
Well, I have a very strong opinion about it. And here's why. So Rust is for performance and Solidity is for innovation. So for instance, all the different chains that work with Rust, right? So Solana, Polkadot, and many others, you haven't really seen any innovative use case that have been adopted by the masses, but just copies of what's happening already in Ethereum. For instance, flash loans were created with Solidity. Automated market maker was created with Solidity. Yield farming was created with Solidity. And what's happening is that all these different layer ones that are scaling, they're just adopting what's already been created. So Anatoly Yakovenko, the co-founder of Solana, he said it himself in a Twitter where he says, developing in Solana is like eating glass. And he actually said it. You can go and look it up and see. So what's happening is that if you want to make things more performant, Rust is a very good language for that because it's low level. It has garbage collector and so forth. However, for you, in order to innovate and to create new things, you need to have the ability to code what's in your mind. And Solidity is a high level language, just like JavaScript and Python. And these are languages that allow you to more easily put into code what you have in your head. So, and that's what most of the innovation that has come from Ethereum had just been replicated into other chains. And I just can keep going, but those are just a few use cases that I can just give you as an example.
Hey, Dennis, do you want to weigh in on this one too? I know you and I had some good Solana conversations while we were setting up this course.
Yeah, no, I think that was a great explanation by David. I would just add that there's definitely a trend in Rust. I noticed that as well. But then again, if you learn, the basics of the technology, of blockchain, and how the messages and the transactions work, you don't really have to worry about this, because if you need to transition to Rust in the future, it's going to be pretty easy. So I wouldn't worry about this. And I'm pretty sure that at some point, BloomTech might have something with Rust for sure.
Thank you. The next question that we have is, really looking forward to this course. Thank you, Matt. Can the instructors mention any high profile or high TVL protocols within DeFi that contributed to development? Thank you.
That's another David. David did our DeFi sprint. Go, David.
Yes. So I didn't understand your question well. I think he was talking about what protocol in DeFi has a lot of TVL. Is that the question?
Can the instructors mention any high profile or high TVL protocols within DeFi they contributed to development? So something that maybe you've contributed.
Or that we have contributed to development?
That's how I'm reading it, Matt. If I'm not reading that correctly, please drop it in the chat.
Okay. So if you're talking about protocol that has a large TVL, total value locked in the protocol, probably in this bear market, I would say it's Curve and other composable protocols built on at the bottom, such as Convex. They are an AMM specifically for stablecoins, and what they are doing in the market, which is great, is that the ability for traders, large whales, to trade stablecoins in a decentralized manner, and they are doing it so well that they are the DeFi protocol that has the most total value lock in the last 2 years. in DeFi overall. And you can go a little, and if you just add them up, convex and also convex, they'll still have right now, after all the bear market and the 80% downturn, it's still over 13 or $14 billion worth of total value lock. So that shows that the power of, one protocol that is succeeding. Hopefully that's the question that you were asking.
So Matt wants to know if either of you have developed any high profile DeFi protocols. Have you built any of them? And if so, which ones?
I personally haven't. No. I've been much more involved with the side of instruction and writing and teaching. Never got the chance to really design a protocol. So no, maybe David.
Yeah, so I have contributed in a few of them. However, none of them succeeded. So actually last year, yeah, so they went down the hill. But it was a couple of them were NFT marketplaces. One of them was for a company called Holofix. It's a NFT marketplace that was trying to do the first generation NFTs with holograms. But I'm mostly involved with just teaching, being an instructor. I'm helping a company called Accelerating Hong Kong, building their course as well. And I'm also I'm building another course for another company in Italy, and they are called WeSchool, and they are the top company in educational technology in Italy. And I'm very involved, especially with the education part. I enjoy teaching, so that's why I've been mostly focused on.
Thank you both. And thank you, Matt. The next question that we have is, how many hours of commitment does this course need for someone to be successful? Again, at this point, we're saying if you spend about 15 hours per sprint, that you should get through the sprint. Again, some people may go a little bit faster, some people may go slower, but again, at that 15 hours per sprint, it's about 150 hours total. The next, that's that question. I think I marked one. Okay, sorry. The next question that we have is the course fee deductible as education expense during tax filing? We are not tax consultants nor experts, so I would definitely recommend you reach out to the person who files your taxes to get that answered, because I'm not positive. Okay. And then the next question that we have is, how does this course compare to the 32-hour video smart contract with JS course released by Free Code Camp from Patrick Collins of Link?
Yes, I can answer that question. There are so many of those courses that are out there. It's impossible for me to keep up with them all. I know that there are free courses that you can find on YouTube. All the ones that I've taken a look at, including some from some major universities with big name pedigrees. I won't name them because they are competition. Get like half of our course. They teach you either blockchain or they teach you cryptocurrencies. You can always try to go to YouTube or to Git or some other Discord and try to stitch together courses. If you can find them all in a word that makes better sense to you, but I don't know that specific course to be able to give you a thumbs up or thumbs down on how to compare.
Yeah, I've never seen the course myself, so I would have to echo Mark there. The next question we have is, does BloomTech integrate any networking into this course? Group projects, group Discord, hackathons, etc.?
Yeah, so part of what we want everyone to do is to sign up for the Ask the Expert hours. And even if there's no topic that you want to be able to discuss, or if you really want to schedule and say, hey, can we get somebody in here to talk to us about what the employment looks like in DeFi or NFTs or anything else, we'll help you arrange those things based on what it is that you would like us to be able to do. So we're not going to have like a channels where you can get together and talk per se that are like directly related to the course. But those ask the expert times are really good times just to come in and hang out.
I would add on to that. Mark referred to earlier a platform that we use internally called The Hub. And in the hub, there is a section for discussion forums as well, where we encourage folks to go in and post questions or content, and other people to go in and like chime in and add, add questions, or if you want to like decide within that forum to then take it to a Discord channel. I mean, those are all things that we encourage for you to do, right? But again, being that this is such a hands-off course, there's nothing that we're doing right now. That's not to say that we won't do it in the future if that's what learners are asking for and that's what people want to see. But for our initial launch, we are not doing that outside of, cultivating networks within the discussion forum in the hub. Great question. And the next question that we have is, for those of us who are just hearing about BloomTech for the first time, what can you tell us about your institution and pedigree? So BloomTech has been around since about 2017. We are formally known as Lambda School. The big idea that our CEO and founder, Austin Allred, had is to unlock human potential regardless of circumstance. So what he did was started a school for people to become software engineers and software developers with no upfront cost, so that we're taking down barriers for people who really want to better themselves and get better careers, but they might not have $30,000 sitting in their pocket to take the traditional schooling route and or to sign up for an online coding bootcamp to get the skills that they need to get into that career and break into the market. And so Austin launched at the time Lambda School with then zero upfront tuition, and you wouldn't have to pay us anything until you were able to get a job in the market making $50,000 or more per year, to really make us so much different than the 12-week boot camps that existed, who you paid up front and it didn't matter if you got a job or completed the course successfully or not. Our program is far more in depth than a lot of the other traditional shorter boot camps. Most of our three flagship tracks are full stack web development, back-end development, in which we're actually partnered with Amazon, and then our data science course. And from beginning to end, those courses take anywhere from 6 to 9 months, with instruction and a lot of support along the way. In terms of pedigree, I mean, we are a school, we're not accredited or anything at this point, but we've had thousands and thousands of learners graduate our program and go into bigger and better things, and are changing generational kind of like blockers for their family based on these new jobs that they're getting. One of my favorite statistics to share is that the average income of an incoming learner at BloomTech is right around between $23,000 and $26,000. And by the time they graduate and get a new job in the market, they're making on average about $78,000 per year. So we're 3Xing and 4Xing what people have ever made in their lives, and really truly changing lives. And while Web3 is not intended to be one of those courses that takes somebody from 0 to 100, it certainly is another opportunity for people who are experienced who want to upskill and get a higher paying job in the future. So what we do here is all about just trying to help people make their lives better and help educate them in the areas that they need to be educated in order to get the jobs that they'd like to get. Great question. Thank you. How can someone stay fresh with course months? How can someone stay fresh with course months after the course is finished? So once you finish the course, you may, join and finish the course in a month or a month and a half, depending on how quickly you want to go through it. Again, you'll have course access for 12 months, but a lot of the links and resources are tied into the course. So if you wanted to save those and refer to them later, you're certainly welcome to do so. A lot of it is just out public information, and we're just trying to help steer you in the right direction to learn the right topics, or steer you in the right direction to get the information on the topics that you want to learn.
Practice, get a job in Web3 with your new skills, all good ways to keep your skills sharp. That's personally kind of where I fell down as a data scientist. I know TensorFlow well enough to know I have to find somebody to help me correct things. And then because my skills are so old, I just find somebody to do my wacky ideas.
Great. Thank you, Mark. The next question we have is it hard to find stable work in Web3, and do you have to hop around a lot to a lot of different jobs? I don't.
Dennis and David, let's let you, Dennis and David, they're actively working in the space.
Yeah, so there's two things. So even though there's been a downturn, I myself see that there's still huge demand. So for instance, Binance allocated about $500 million just worth of to invest in Web3. Andreessen Horowitz, which is the largest VC globally, they also did it. I think they allocated $4.5 billion, and there's a lot of money that is still being invested in Web3 heavily. My company, the one that I'm working at, WeSchool, they actually just got funded a few months ago. So and so this just goes to show that even though there is a downturn when it comes to employment opportunities, long term, what's happening is that it's not really slowing down when it comes to development. There's a huge shortage of blockchain developers. Like I'm serious. Like it's really hard to find blockchain developers, and these people are starving for them. So the demand is already there. It's just for you to have the skills and then just have a portfolio of whether it's 4 to 6 projects, create a website and just direct them to your repo, and then just write a beautiful README that MD, and you can just start working from there. You can either start getting clients and just work your way up. That's exactly how I did. So I started working, single clients, just very small projects, hackathons here and there, and then yeah. So now I just don't have enough time. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to ruin anything, but we do have another upcoming event that we have somebody in the recruiting industry who will also talk to the amount of Web3 jobs that are available, kind of what the salary ranges are and what their titles are. And I'll share the dates with you guys at the end of this. We have a few more questions that I want to get through in the last 7 minutes that we have. The next question is, are there live lectures? How long is one sprint, or is it flexible time? Currently, the only live sessions are the Ask the Expert sessions, and those are not necessarily lectures. They're there for you to answer the questions that you have. And so again, not lectures, but giving the information that people are wanting. And one sprint should take you about 15 hours. But again, this is self-paced, so it could take you 29 hours if you want, or maybe you can finish it in, I don't know, 12, but it's up to you. Okay. Then the next question that we have is, will you host an event like this for the other 3 courses that you mentioned, data science, web dev, and backend? I'm pretty sure that we have a lot of events circled around those 3 flagship programs ongoing, and there are already recordings on our website underneath those courses as well. We can link to those in the chat. If somebody can help me out and link to those, that would be really great. But the reason we're hosting this one specifically is because this is brand new to BloomTech, whereas the other 3 courses have been around for quite a bit longer. And then
Also,
the question.
I want to quickly go back to the employment thing. If you take a look at all of the stuff that's going on, blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs kind of peaking a little bit, just please be aware that there's entire industries who are looking at blockchain as a way to make all their transactions more secure. I also have a healthcare background, and I know many people who are insurance companies, hospitals, patients who are itching to get to do blockchain so they can communicate to their doctor in a secure manner. It's just too expensive, right?
Thank you, Mark.
Think about it.
And thank you, Dante. For those of you who missed it, Dante posted a link to all of our upcoming events for BloomTech in relation to the other tracks that you asked about. The next question is, what resources are available for students who finish the course as they apply for jobs as a Web3 developer? Unlike our other 3 flagship programs where we have an entire outcomes department who helps people find jobs, that's not something that we're offering right out of the gate. Because our hypothesis is that because this course was designed for experienced engineers, that likely they already have jobs and they may not be looking for something else. So again, at launch, we may not have anything available, but it is definitely on our radar and roadmap to see what we can do about this in the future.
Also, when Amit, who is the person who is the recruiter, when he does his session, try to plan to attend that if you can do live or to get the recording link afterwards. Amit is especially gracious with his time and probably drops his personal email address into the presentation.
Thank you. Next question we have is, would a recent BloomTech grad, full stack or data science be a good fit for this course? It really depends on how much experience you have. If you graduated last week, maybe not, but if you graduated 9 months ago, 15 months ago, it might be a better fit. I would encourage you to go to the application and take a look at what we've listed out as the requirements and the technology that you should be familiar with in order to complete the course successfully. We're not saying, no, you can't sign up, but we are trying to set you up for success by being as upfront and transparent about those, those requirements as early as possible.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, give Dante a call. So
Yeah.
if you could, he can like walk you through. Dante is really, really good at understanding what's going on. Dante's like pinged me and said, "Hey, dude, can you jump out of this chat for a minute?" So we don't. I would not try to talk you into or out of anything. I will give you all of the information to let you make an informed decision.
Great. Great answer. Thank you. And then this one would be for Dennis and or David. How much did your first blockchain development job pay?
Well, nice.
Yeah, well, about 6 figures actually. So I make about a bit more than 6 figures right now. I don't want to say exactly, but yeah, it's about that. So
Dennis's microphone. Oh, your new microphone's not working. Uh-oh. Okay.
If you're having audio, Dennis, we can drop in the chat so we can see. We'll read it for you.
Great. Thank you. And then the last question that we have here is, when is the webinar with Recruiter, or has that not been scheduled yet? That has been scheduled, and I am about to share a slide where you can see that. But also in the chat, we linked to all of BloomTech's upcoming events, so you can check out our webpage as well. Dennis, did you get your voice figured out?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Just, I decided to try this new microphone today, and it's not a wise choice. But yeah, do you want me to try and help that other question?
Yeah, please.
Sure. So in my case, my first dev job pay was zero, because I started this maybe 2013. I would go in road shows trying to teach and offer services, and nobody was interested, really. They wouldn't listen to me for free. And fast forward, 7 years, 8, 9 years, and there's a really, really hot demand for devs. So I've heard about 100, 200, 300,000 open jobs for developers, Web3 in the US only. So it's not uncommon to hear, about salaries over $200,000 annually, for someone with some experience. So yeah, definitely very, very hot market right now. And I'm glad that I made that choice and that bet many years ago, because they wouldn't pay me a dime.
Thank you. Okay. Now we've only got 1 minute left here. So next steps. Like I mentioned, our Web3 application is open now. You are welcome to go to our website and apply at any time. And the course is available starting on July 25th. As I mentioned, we're just wrapping up a few more details on our unique platform that has been created for BloomTech specifically. Very beautiful. You don't want to miss it. How to apply, go to bloomtech.com and go to our Web3 courses. And then you'll also find contact information there. If you have any questions, you can email or set up a one-on-one meeting with an enrollment coach. Dante, who's joined this, if you want to have like a one-on-one session, is this course right for me? I just graduated. Should I move forward? And then the upcoming events that we have our guest speaker coming up, the Recruiter, on Wednesday, June 29th, Head of Talent. June 30th, we have BloomTech CEO Q&A. So you have an just open floor with our CEO, Awesome Allred, to ask any questions that you have. We have another guest speaker that Mark spoke about earlier, Bogdan Habik. He's the founder and CTO of Tenderly, who is also a contributor to our curriculum. And then another Meet the Instructors Q&A that will have our other two instructors that Mark referred back to earlier in this program, to just, again, ask them more questions about themselves, ask questions about the sprints that they developed specifically. And registration for all of these links can be found at bloomtech.com/events. Okay, well, this was really, really great. Thank you all again for coming. This program was recorded, and we will be posting it to bloomtech.com on our Web3 course page as well. So if you have any questions, you can rewatch the video. Otherwise, reach out to us because we are more than happy to help. And I hope that you all have a lovely night.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time, especially for all the early risers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.